He may not get as many targets as he wants in order to have the kind of impact that he wants to have. Abdul will be rushing the passer. He'll be a double-digit sack guy. And if he goes to Cleveland and they pair him up with Myles Garrett, just look out at AFC North, because that would be one of the best tandems, if not the very best 1-2 punch in the league.
Well, let's talk about Cleveland for a minute here, because if someone were to say the Browns need to take a quarterback at number 2 overall, is that ridiculous?
No, it's not ridiculous. Now, the question is whether or not they feel as though that they have a franchise guy sitting there waiting for them in a guy like Shedeur Sanders, when we presume that Cam Ward's going to go number 1 overall to Tennessee. So, no, it's not ridiculous at all, because, quite honestly, what is their option? What is their plan if they don't take a guy at number 2? Is it to be at the top of the second round? Is that who they have their eye on, someone? And it's not a guarantee that their guy could be there. They're in a very precarious situation.
Well, yesterday, the owner of the Browns, Jimmy Haslam, conceded that trading for Deshaun Watson was not a good decision. Take a listen.
We took a big swing and miss with Deshaun. We thought we had the quarterback. We didn't. And we gave up a lot of draft picks to get him. So we've got to dig ourselves out of that hole.
Shouldn't they be held accountable for that decision?
Listen, I've said this, I think, numerous times. The Deshaun Watson was an entire organization decision, and it ends with D&I. So, hold us accountable.
Yes, well, fair enough. I'll just remind you once again of what the Browns traded for Deshaun Watson. 5 draft picks, including 3 ones, and they signed him to a 5-year deal, which gave him $230 million guaranteed dollars. This year, he carries a dead cap value of $172 million. So, yes, Mr. Haslam, thank you for pointing out something that anyone who has ever paid attention to football already knows. That is the worst trade in the history of the National Football League. It's not even close. It is the worst trade any team has ever made in the history of the NFL. Having said that, let me go back to the previous question, Mel Kiper. All these mocks don't have Cleveland taking a quarterback at number 2. Yours and Fields and all these other ones, they don't have one, and we don't have them taking one. Help me make sense of that.
Yeah, I think you look at Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter, to me, screams Cleveland Browns. To have him paired with Myles Garrett at wide 9, something that Schwartz has not had. I'll tell you, here they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, getting after quarterbacks. You do not want to be a quarterback against Carter and Garrett if they go that route. Could they use a weapon on offense like Travis Hunter? Yes, they could. So you're going to get the number 1 player on your board if you're the Cleveland Browns, with Ward going number 1 to the Tennessee Titans. The team that's worried here is New England. New England would love to see Shedeur go 2 or 3. If that doesn't happen, then we're in a tough spot. If the quarterback goes there, they're guaranteed the number 1 player on their board. But the Shedeur Sanders, when I was talking to teams in the league, nobody had the quarterbacks, including Cam Ward, by the way, ranked this high. So my thing, doing a little bit of just trying to figure it out from a common sense standpoint, are 2 quarterbacks that the league's telling me, my friends in the league say, we don't have nearly that high, are both going to go at 1-2. That's why I had Shedeur maybe dropping down just a bit to 3, and had Cleveland going for Abdul Carter, with Travis Hunter maybe getting to New England at 4 if Shedeur goes 3. If Travis Hunter goes 3, New England is in a bad spot. So New England's really sitting there hoping, guys, that Ward goes 1 and Sanders goes either 2 or 3. We'll see. But I think Cleveland goes away from quarterback, and I think takes Abdul Carter.
Schefter is back with us from the owners' meetings. That's the part of this I find curious, Schefter, is that everyone talks about, well, the Giants need to take a quarterback. They need to take a quarterback. They have a bunch of guys who've played quarterback on their team. If they need to take a quarterback, why doesn't Cleveland need to take a quarterback?
Well, Cleveland does need to take a quarterback, but it certainly feels like they have visions of matching Abdul Carter with Myles Garrett and unleashing that tandem against the rest of that division, Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, and the rest of that division, whoever plays quarterback in Pittsburgh, maybe Aaron Rodgers. I think that they recognize that Abdul Carter is an elite talent and Travis Hunter is an elite talent, and that's the decision to get back to them that the Giants have to make. Do they view Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter in that category, and do they have a high enough grade on Shedeur Sanders that they can justify taking Sanders ahead of one of these higher-rated players? And right now, it doesn't feel like Cleveland's moving in that direction. We go back to Thursday night, the night before the Penn State Pro Day. Cleveland ownership flew to State College, Pennsylvania, to meet with Abdul Carter for a second time. As Mel would know, there aren't many times where owners are meeting with an individual prospect twice within recent weeks. That tells you how serious Cleveland is about taking Abdul Carter at the 2nd overall pick here.
Booger.
Greeny, when you look at the stability at the top of the organization, here's the reason why one needs to take one and the other one, even though they need one, they're probably not, is because Kevin Stefanski is solidified as the coach there. He's not under pressure. He's got to win right now.
Right.
There is a mandate. They have to win in New York, and they have to get a franchise quarterback. So Mr. Stefanski, who by regard is one of the best coaches in the National Football League, who hasn't had a quarterback, even though they tried with Deshaun Watson, they can afford to take the best player available and pair Abdul Carter with Myles Garrett and figure out the quarterback position later because of the stability at the top at the head coaching position.
You know, ironically, Cleveland did have a quarterback.
Yeah.
They had a guy named Baker Mayfield.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And when they decided, after Deshaun Watson sat out the 2021 season, and then, depending upon who you believe and what you know about what happened in Cleveland and why Baker Mayfield was shipped out of there in 2020, look, they had somebody there. Baker had just coming off a season that was pretty damn good in 2020. Okay? Pretty damn good. And it led them to the playoffs. So, look, this team right here, right now, look, I'll tell you what, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in any decision that they make. Look, if they want to go Abdul Carter, that's great, because Abdul's a hell of a player. Yep. Abdul's going to be a double-digit sack guy. But until they figure out the quarterback position, I don't care how many people they unleash on Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson and whoever's playing quarterback for Pittsburgh. They're not ascending to the top of the AFC North. They're just not. Until they figure out that position, which they have shown no ability to do in recent years.
Hold this thought. I can see Mel wants to dive in. We're going to come back to it. And hold the Lewis tweet also. Let me take a quick break here because I'm getting up against it here. We will come back with all of that. Don't move if you're watching us on television. We have so much more to say about this, including Aaron Rodgers throwing with DK. Does that mean he's going to Pittsburgh? Could he still be going to Minnesota? We'll get answers to all of that. And we'll see if Lewis and Booger can answer this. Sneaky Hembo. Which NFL franchise has played the most seasons without ever winning the championship? That's a good question.
Interesting.
Answers next.
Chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng. Vòng hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là sâu khế. Mọi người, hôm nay vòng của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là sâu đo. Bây giờ mình bắt đầu làm nha.
Cái xẻng mà để rơi kia nó mang cái xẻng gì ạ? Mang đồ thì mình mấy cắt rồi.
Không, người ta định thả rồi. Mọi người, bây giờ mình sẽ chọn màu vàng nha.
Đang để con dây điện buộc vào kia rồi, còn chấm tháo mình. Mang ông cậu này.